Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaudavani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Bhagavad Gita as it is. Ki Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari. Alright. Hare Krishna, Nakunja Nagari is here. And that is it. And me. And Lord Krishna. And Gornitai. And Giri Govardhan. And Nashringa Dev. And Sri Harinam Prabhu. Hare Krishna. We're starting chapter 18. Excuse me. The conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. So I'll start with the Mangalacharna, and then we'll dive in. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtang Stapatang Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatang Sahagana Raganatan Vitang Tang Sajivam Sarvetam Savadhutam Padijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Alright, chapter 18. Conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. Text 1. Arjuna uvacha sannyasasya mahabaho tattvamischami veditum Tyagasya cha hrishikesha pratakkeshi nishudana. Arjuna said, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, tyaga, and of the renounced order of life, sannyas, O killer of the Keshi demon, master of the senses. Purport. Actually, the Bhagavad Gita is finished in 17 chapters. The 18th chapter is a supplementary summarization of the topics discussed before. In every chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna stresses that devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of life. This same point is summarized in the 18th chapter as the most confidential path of knowledge. In the first 6 chapters, stress was given to devotional service, yogi nam api sarvesham. Of all yogis or transcendentalists, one who always thinks of me within himself is best. In the next 6 chapters, pure devotional service and its nature and activity were discussed. In the third 6 chapters, knowledge, renunciation, the activities of material nature and transcendental nature, and devotional service were described. It was concluded that all acts should be performed in conjunction with the Supreme Lord, represented by the words Om Tat Sat, which indicate Vishnu, the Supreme Person. The third part of Bhagavad Gita has shown that devotional service and nothing else is the ultimate purpose of life. This has been established by citing past acharyas in the Brahma Sutra, the Vedanta Sutra. Certain impersonalists consider themselves to have a monopoly on the knowledge of Vedanta Sutra. But actually, the Vedanta Sutra is meant for understanding devotional service, for the Lord himself is the composer of the Vedanta Sutra, and he is its knower. That is described in the 15th chapter. In every scripture, every Veda, devotional service is the objective. That is explained in Bhagavad Gita. As in the 2nd chapter, a synopsis of the whole subject matter was described. In the 18th chapter, also the summary of all instruction is given. The purpose of life is indicated to be renunciation and attainment of the transcendental position above the 3 material modes of nature. Arjuna wants to clarify the 2 distinct subject matters of Bhagavad Gita, namely renunciation, tyag, and the renounced order of life, sannyas. Thus he is asking the meaning of these 2 words. 2 words used in this verse to address the Supreme Lord, Rishikesh and Keshi Nisudana, are significant. Rishikesh is Krishna, the master of all senses, who can always help us attain mental serenity. Arjuna requests him to summarize everything in such a way that he can remain equipoised. Yet he has some doubts, and doubts are always compared to demons. He therefore addresses Krishna as Keshi Nisudana. Keshi was a most formidable demon who was killed by the Lord. Now Arjuna is expecting Krishna to kill the demon of doubt. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kamyanam Karmanam Nyasam Sannyasam Kavayo Vidu. I think someone was trying to get on. Let me just give me 1 second here. Oh, here we go. Hare Krishna. Kala Prabhu is here. Welcome to Zoom, Babaji.
Hare Krishna. Haribo.
It's me, you, and Nakunja Nagari. Vakadam, I don't know what he's doing. He did not come though. He's in his room. Hopefully he's okay. Alright, we're in text 2 of chapter 18. I'm going to read Sanskrit. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kamyanam Karmanam Nyasam Sannyasam Kavayo Vidhu Sarvakarma Palatyagam Prahustyagam Vichakshanaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the giving up of activities that are based on material desire is what great learned men call the renounced order of life, sannyas. And giving up the results of all activities is what the wise call renunciation, tyag. Purport. The performance of activities for results has to be given up. This is the instruction of Bhagavad Gita. But activities leading to advanced spiritual knowledge are not to be given up. This will be made clear in the next verses. In the Vedic literature, there are many prescriptions of methods for performing sacrifice for some particular purpose. There are certain sacrifices to perform to attain a good son or to attain elevation to the higher planets, but sacrifices prompted by desires should be stopped. However, sacrifice for the purification of one's heart or for advancement in the spiritual science should not be given up. Text 3. Tajyam doshavaritye karma prahur manishanaha yagyadana tapakarma natyajyam iti chapare. Some learned men declare that all kinds of fruitive activities should be given up as faulty, yet other sages maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be abandoned. Purport: there are many activities in the Vedic literature which are subjects of contention. For instance, it is said that an animal can be killed in a sacrifice, yet some maintain that animal killing is completely abominable. Although animal killing in a sacrifice is recommended in the Vedic literature, the animal is not considered to be killed. The sacrifice is to give a new life to the animal. Sometimes the animal is given a new animal life after being killed in the sacrifice, and sometimes the animal is promoted immediately to the human form of life. But there are different opinions among the sages. Some say that animal killing should always be avoided, and others say that for a specific sacrifice it is good. All these different opinions on sacrificial activity are now being clarified by the Lord himself. Nischayam shanu me tatra tyage bharata sattama tyago hi purusha vyagra trivriha samprakirtitaha. O best of the Bharatas, now hear my judgment about renunciation. O tiger among men, renunciation is declared in the scriptures to be of three kinds. Purport: although there are differences of opinion about renunciation, here the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, gives his judgment, which should be taken as final. After all, the Vedas are different laws given by the Lord. Here the Lord is personally present, and his word should be taken as final. The Lord says that the process of renunciation should be considered in terms of the modes of material nature in which it is performed. Text 5. Yagyadanatapakarma nityajyam karyameva tat yagyodanam tapascheva pavanani manishinam. Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. Purport: the yagyas, or sacrifices, are generally performed for the advancement of human society. There are many purificatory processes for advancing a human being to spiritual life. The marriage ceremony, for example, is considered to be one of these sacrifices. It is called Vivaha Yagya. Should a sannyasi who is in the renounced order of life and who has given up his family relations encourage the marriage ceremony? The Lord says here that any sacrifice which is meant for human welfare should never be given up. Vivaha Yagya, the marriage ceremony, is meant to regulate the human mind so that it may become peaceful for spiritual advancement. For most men, this Vivaha Yagya should be encouraged even by persons in the renounced order of life. Sannyasis should never associate with women, but that does not mean that one who is in the lower stages of life, a young man, should not accept a wife in the marriage ceremony. All prescribed sacrifices are meant for achieving the Supreme Lord. Therefore, in the lower stages, they should not be given up. Similarly, charity is for the purification of the heart. If charity is given to suitable persons, as described previously, it leads one to advanced spiritual life. Wow, that's cool. If charity is given to suitable persons, it leads one to advanced spiritual life. Etanyapi tu karmani sangam tyakva palani cha kartavyani ti me parta nishchitam matam uttamam. All these activities should be performed without attachment or any expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty, O son of Prita. That is my final opinion. Purport: although all sacrifices are purifying, one should not expect any result by such performances. In other words, all sacrifices which are meant for material advancement in life should be given up. But sacrifices that purify one's existence and elevate one to the spiritual plane should not be stopped. Everything that leads to Krishna consciousness must be encouraged. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also it is said that any activity which leads to devotional service to the Lord should be accepted. That is the highest criterion of religion. A devotee of the Lord should accept any kind of work, sacrifice, or charity which will help him in the discharge of devotional service to the Lord. Niyatasya tu sannyasa Karmano no papadyate mohatasya parityagastamasa parikirtitaha. Prescribed duties should never be abandoned. If one gives up his prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Purport. Work for material satisfaction must be given up, but activities which promote one to spiritual activity, like cooking for the Supreme Lord and offering the food to the Lord and then accepting the food, are recommended. It is said that a person in the renounced order of life should not cook for himself. Cooking for oneself is prohibited, but cooking for the Supreme Lord is not prohibited. Similarly, a sannyasi may perform a marriage ceremony to help his disciple in the advancement of Krishna consciousness. If one renounces such activities, it is to be understood that he is acting in the mode of darkness. Dukkamityeva yat karma kaya klesha bhayat yajet sakritva rajasam tyagam naiva tyaga palam labhet. Anyone who gives up prescribed duties as troublesome or out of fear of bodily discomfort is said to have renounced in the mode of passion. Such action never leads to the elevation of renunciation. Purport. One who is in Krishna consciousness should not give up earning money out of fear that he is performing fruitive activities. If by working one can engage his money in Krishna consciousness, or if by rising early in the morning one can advance his transcendental Krishna consciousness, one should not desist out of fear or because such activities are considered troublesome. Such renunciation is in the mode of passion. The result of passionate work is always miserable. If a person renounces work in that spirit, he never gets the result of renunciation. Karyamityeva yat karma niyatam kriyate arjuna sangam tyakva balam cheva satyaga satviko mataha. O Arjuna, when one performs his prescribed duty only because it ought to be done and renounces all material association and all attachment to the fruit, his renunciation is said to be in the mode of goodness. Purport. Prescribed duties must be performed with this mentality. One should act without attachment for the result. He should be disassociated from the modes of work. A man working in Krishna consciousness in a factory does not associate himself with the work of the factory, nor with the workers of the factory. He simply works for Krishna. And when he gives up the result for Krishna, he is acting transcendentally. Nadveshya kushalam karma kushalena nusajjate tyagi sattva samavishto medhavi chena sangshayaha. Any reflections, comments at this point? Anybody? Questions, comments, realizations, nectar tidbits, if you will. Let me see. No.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hari.
I appreciate your readings, and no, this strikes me directly and applies to certain things I feel in my life. The nectar of attachment is something that we do have in a way because we're serving Krishna. So as we're going through our sacred duties and striving to be the best in that we are, at the same time, we're not attached to the fruit of result. So it's an interesting dichotomy.
Right. Yeah, when we heard that, I was thinking to myself, I was really trying to deepen my own conception. I mean, I know everything is here, but just in my own self, in terms of working without attachment to the results. I was thinking it doesn't mean that you don't take certain actions in different situations that may be necessary, and sometimes even we may be guided by Super Soul to take action in a way that may not be even expected in a sense, but it doesn't mean that one's attached to the results. Prabhupada talks about pure devotees, and they can be very hard to understand. And some people, like you see, like advanced devotees, like you never know what they're gonna say next or what they're gonna do next. And it's just like, yeah, they're totally kind of governed by Krishna, and they're just it's just like, okay, he's just a pure devotee. You can't really don't know what to expect sometimes. And one who's really guided by Super Soul, like some devotees may have a plan to work something out, and then there's another like devotee that or circumstances that come up that uh, it seems to be going against the plan of the devotees, but is not is basically the plan of the Lord to go that way. If that makes sense. So I was kind of meditating on this kind of point of not being attached to the results, but still being in tune and acting like from the spiritual platform. And it's not always so you know like looking at it externally, it may really not be always so obvious, because oftentimes it's not Krishna's will or desire that things go so perfectly for us and our plans here, even if our plans are apparently Krishna conscious. Might have a great plan for preaching, and then Krishna, he can give us empowerment. He might give us empowerment for a little bit, and anything can happen at any time, and it actually be Krishna's will. So anyway, I don't know what you think about any of those thoughts, but a few thoughts. I know it's probably not the direction you were kind of going with it, but I was kind of thinking on the same topic.
Okay, I am here, Prabhuji. I am still new to using the Zoom, so I just turned my microphone back on. Feeling what you're saying, definitely. You know, Krishna gives us so many things to work with, and it is oftentimes something that maybe is, our desire to try to fulfill something or be something, and in the same way, whether or not that's received, that it's still our propensity to strive for that. And if it's not received, then we're still enabling our activity to be present, like in the sacred duty. You know, do what we can, and with love and devotion. And if Krishna is reciprocating, and oftentimes he does in so many unexpected ways. You know.
Right. Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah, like we might expect some sort of reciprocation or result, but that does not always occur exactly the way that we're anticipating.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and like another point is kind of our sacred duty. There's different levels of it. And in any given circumstance, externally, what my duty is may change. You know, so it's like it's not always so clear and easy to like know uh, what is my duty now.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, the basic of hearing, chanting, sadhana, connecting in that way, Sanatana Dharma. But we also have the other dharmas, swat dharmas, temporary ones in this material world, connected with the body and mind and stuff. Yeah. Thanks for the
Yeah,
points, Prabhuji.
thank you.
Nikunja Nagari says on the chat, reminding us what the purpose of our life is: renunciation, rising above the three modes of material nature. Right, right. And if we're actually situated in a renounced mood, then, whatever happens, it doesn't necessarily disturb us. And we can really sit down anywhere and hear and chant, and life will go on, most likely. Even if you die, and if the body dies, well, you're going to go on somewhere. Sometimes people talk about spiritual bypassing, and it's kind of an interesting topic, which we really don't have to get into that much. But, sometimes we might be accused of or seen as like spiritually bypassing. But there also may be times when actually stuff is not so simple and it's very confusing, and not knowing which way to turn, and we sit down and we just chant. And it may be appreciated that, well, for some of us, we may encounter hitting a wall this way, hitting a wall, hitting a wall, hitting a wall, and it's like, okay, well, what are our options left to do? And then sometimes really all it is sit down and chant. And then just by doing that, things happen. Krishna makes so many opportunities, or, like something will just fall in your lap in an engagement or something, and then there you go, off you go with your, God-given duty, responsibility, engagement. Anyway, thanks for the points. We have some time. I could keep reading. I forgot where I was. I think I'm reading text 10 translation. The intelligent renouncer, situated in the mode of goodness, neither hateful of inauspicious work, nor attached to auspicious work, has no doubts about work. Purport: a person in Krishna consciousness or in the mode of goodness does not hate anyone or anything which troubles his body. He does work in the proper place and at the proper time without fearing the troublesome effects of his duty. Such a person situated in transcendence should be understood to be most intelligent and beyond all doubts in his activities. Nahi deha brita sakyam chaktum karman yasheshataha yastu karma palatyagi satyagi tyabhidiyate. It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but he who renounces the fruits of action is called one who has truly renounced. Purport: it is said in Bhagavad Gita that one can never give up work at any time. Therefore, he who works for Krishna and does not enjoy the fruit of results, who offers everything to Krishna, is actually a renouncer. There are many members... Oh, I gotta plug this thing in. 1 second. Okay. There are many members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness who work very hard in their office or in the factory or some other place, and whatever they earn they give to the society. Such highly elevated souls are actually sannyasis and are situated in the renounced order of life. It is clearly outlined here how to renounce the fruits of work and for what purpose fruits should be renounced. Anishtam ishtam mishram cha trivedham karmana phalam bhavat yatyaginam pretya matu sannyasinam kvachit. For one who has not renounced the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, accrue after death. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such result after to suffer or enjoy. Purport: a person in Krishna consciousness acting in knowledge of his relationship with Krishna is always liberated. Therefore, he does not have to enjoy or suffer the results of his acts after death. Panchaitani mahabaho karanani nabodhame sange kritante proktani siddhaye sarva karmanam. O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. Purport: a question may be raised that since any activity performed must have some reaction, how is it that the person in Krishna consciousness does not suffer or enjoy the reactions of work? The Lord is citing Vedanta philosophy to show how this is possible. He says that there are 5 causes for all activities, and for success in all activity, one should consider these 5 causes. Sankhya means a discourse of knowledge, and Vedanta is the final discourse of knowledge accepted by all leading acharyas. Even Shankar accepts Vedanta Sutra as such. Therefore, such authority should be consulted. The ultimate control is invested in the Supersoul, as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sanivishtaha. He is engaging everyone in certain activities by reminding him of his past actions. And Krishna conscious acts done under his direction from within yield no reaction, either in this life or in the life after death. Adhishtanam titha karta karanam cha pratak vidham vividascha pratak cheshta daivam jaivatra panchamam. The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the supersoul, these are the 5 factors of action. Purport. The word adhishtanam refers to the body. The soul within the body is acting to bring about the results of activity and is therefore known as karta, the doer. That the soul is the knower and the doer is stated in the Vedanta Sutra. That the soul is the knower and the doer is stated in the Shruti, Esha hi drashta shrashta, Prashna, Upanishad 4.9. It is also confirmed in the Vedanta Sutra by the verses Nyota Eva and Karta Shastartavatvat. The instruments of action are the senses, and by the senses the soul acts in various ways. For each and every action there is a different endeavor, but all one's activities depend on the will of the Supersoul, who is seated within the heart as a friend. The Supreme Lord is the supercause. Under these circumstances, he who is acting in Krishna consciousness under the direction of the Supersoul situated within the heart is naturally not bound by any activity. Those in complete Krishna consciousness are not ultimately responsible for their actions. Everything is dependent on the Supreme Will, the Supersoul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shadiravan manobiryat karma parabhate naraha nyayam va vaparitam va panchaite tasya hetavaha. Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors. Purport. The words right and wrong are very significant in this verse. Right work is work done in terms of the prescribed directions in the scriptures, and wrong work is work done against the principles of the scriptural injunctions. But whatever is done requires these 5 factors for its complete performance. Tatraivam sati kartaram atmanam kevalam tuyaha pashyatya krita buddhitvan nasa pashyati dormatihi. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. Purport. A foolish person cannot understand that the Supersoul is sitting as a friend within and conducting his actions. Although the material causes are the place, the worker, the endeavor, and the senses, the final cause is the Supreme, the Personality of Godhead. Therefore, one should see not only the 4 material causes, but the Supreme Efficient Cause as well. One who does not see the Supreme thinks himself to be the doer. Yashanahang krito bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate at bhapi sa imaloka nahanti na bhadyate. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by his actions. Purport. In this verse, the Lord informs Arjuna that the desire not to fight arises from false ego. Arjuna thought himself to be the doer of action, but he did not consider the supreme sanction within and without. If one does not know that a super sanction is there, why should he act? But one who knows the instruments of work, himself as the worker and the Supreme Lord as the Supreme Sanctioner, is perfect in doing everything. Such a person is never an illusion. Personal activity and responsibility arise from false ego and godlessness, or a lack of Krishna consciousness. Anyone who is acting in Krishna consciousness under the direction of the Supersoul or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though killing does not kill. This is kind of like touching on that point earlier we were talking about.
Yeah.
Anyone who is acting in Krishna consciousness under the direction of the Supersoul or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though killing does not kill, nor is he ever affected by the reaction of such killing. When a soldier kills under the command of a superior officer, he is not subject to be judged. But if a soldier kills on his own personal account, then he is certainly judged by a court of law. That's amazing. Jnanam yeyam parigyata trividha karma chodana karanam karma karteti trividha karma sangraha. Knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower are the three factors that motivate action. The senses, the work, and the doer are the three constituents of action. Purport. There are three kinds of impetus for daily work: knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower. The instruments of work, the work itself, and the worker are called the constituents of work. Any work done by any human being has these elements. Before one acts, there is some impetus, which is called inspiration. Any solution arrived at before work is actualized is a subtle form of work. Any solution arrived at before work is actualized is a subtle form of work. Then work takes the form of action. First, one has to undergo the psychological processes of thinking, feeling, and willing, and that is called impetus. The inspiration to work is the same if it comes from the scripture or from the instruction of the spiritual master. When the inspiration is there and the worker is there, then actual activity takes place by the help of the senses, including the mind, which is the center of all the senses. The sum total of all the constituents of an activity are called the accumulation of work. Jnanam karma cha karta cha tridhaiva guna bhedataha prochite guna sankyane yathavastrinuthanyapi. According to the three different modes of material nature, there are three kinds of knowledge, action, and performer of action. Now hear of them from me. Purport. In the 14th chapter, the three divisions of the modes of material nature were elaborately described. In that chapter, it was said that the mode of goodness is illuminating, the mode of passion materialistic, and the mode of ignorance conducive to laziness and indolence. All the modes of material nature are binding. They are not sources of liberation. Even in the mode of goodness, one is conditioned. In the 17th chapter, the different types of worship by different types of men and different modes of material nature were described. In this verse, the Lord says that he wishes to speak about the different types of knowledge, workers, and work itself according to the three material modes. Sarva bhuteshu yenaikam bhavam avyayamikshate avibhaktam vibhakteshu yajnanam vidhisattvakam. That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all living entities, though they are divided into innumerable forms, you should understand to be in the mode of goodness. Purport. A person who sees one spirit soul in every living being, whether a demigod, human being, animal, bird, beast, aquatic, or plant, possesses knowledge in the mode of goodness. In all living entities, one spirit soul is there, although they have different bodies in terms of their previous work. As described in the 7th chapter, the manifestation of the living force in every body is due to the superior nature of the Supreme Lord. Thus, to see that one superior nature, that living force, in every body, is to see in the mode of goodness. That living energy is perishable, although the bodies are perishable. That living energy is imperishable, although the bodies are perishable. Differences are perceived in terms of the body because there are many forms of material existence and conditional life. The living force appears to be divided. Such impersonal knowledge is an aspect of self-realization. Hare Krishna. Oh man, any other points at this point? I was just reflecting, I was sharing with Kala. I got into a, not maybe, maybe it's an argument. I don't think it was an argument. I realized it's turning into an argument, so I basically just stopped engaging, but with a Christian. Anyway, and, just this, hearing Prabhupada's books, hearing, how much extensive philosophy is here. And, I'm talking day after day, hearing and hearing, and, people are very quick to label or think or label what is Krishna consciousness without really taking the time to even see what it's about, what it is, what is devotional service. And I'm just hearing this, especially that last purport, I'm just hearing it in the way of, this is it. There's nothing wrong with this at all. This is perfect. What Prabhupada is presenting. It's so sound. And, the last chapter was called Divisions of Faith. And we were hearing all about faith in the different modes of nature. And, that's what we have with different conceptions, different understandings, different traditions even. People worshiping God or think they're worshiping God. And, faith can be in different modes and applied in different ways. And, everything is here for us to learn how to interact with people whose faith are in different modes or invested in different ways. And, it's just amazing how practical, it's like however practical Prabhupada's books are. And then as time passes too, the application just gets deeper and deeper and more refined as time goes on, for myself at least. I'm trying to apply it and I'm trying to keep hearing it, and as time goes on, it just keeps getting more refined. It's not like, I can't find the answer to this question. And it's like, oh no, this is, everything is there for practical, connecting practically in Krishna consciousness and maintaining that practical connection and deepening the connection with Krishna. We just read, I can't remember even if I read it here or in the Bhagavatam class recently. I think it was Bhagavatam class. We heard that basically the human life is meant for self-realization and only, nothing else. There's no other purpose for human life, which is, we might understand that, but how deep is that realization? Because we try to use the human body and mind for so many things, generally speaking. We think it's meant for enjoyment, But if we really take in deeply that actually the whole purpose of all this is self-realization, it's just such an amazing perspective, alternative perspective. So anyway, Kunjanagari says, so practical and sound. Yeah. Ever increasingly practical. Philosophically sound. I'm experiencing recently basically being, maybe attacked by Christians, condemned. and informed of my sinfulness and what have you, accused even of things. And not one time can we actually have I experienced one that can rationally hear a presentation at all, basically, and maybe consider, you know, any other point other than their own. I'm experiencing that a lot, and anyway, it's like refreshing to hear Prabhupada's books and to see even just seeing that for me is like very encouraging in what I'm doing. Krishna consciousness, even though I'm not perfect in it, but it just kind of encourages that we're on the right path even more. Yeah. Yeah. Gotta appreciate the Christians' faith, generally speaking, especially the ones that harass us, basically. You know, in whatever it is that their faith may be placed in. It's a quality to appreciate. To be so strong in one's belief that you can't. Like that. There's that verse. Once you've heard, basically, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but once you've accepted Krishna, you've heard everything that is to be heard. Like there's nothing more to be heard because you've heard the summum bonum of all things, essentially. It's not that we have heard everything about Krishna or that we don't want to hear more about Krishna or Bhakti, but other things is we've already been there, done that, chewing the chewed. It's insubstantial in comparison to Krishna consciousness. So anyway, any other points? Kala, Prabhuji, you got any other points? Oh, he said, wishing well for all to know love for all, and this is eminent in bhakti. Right. All living creatures. Jai. Alright. Hare Krishna. Well, if there's nothing else, we can end here. It's pretty good, or pretty good timing. I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit anxious to not finish the Bhagavad Gita, but rather to start Srimad Bhagavatam. So looking forward to that. Should be coming very soon, next 2 days maybe. So don't touch that dial. Stay tuned in. Hare Krishna. So I'm going to end the recording. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your reading.